if I do yoga exercise with the head, sometimes we done with you, and if I see I am moving, so your answer is your inquiry is still not complete. You need to back to inquiry. But then I don't have a question for inquiry. There's nothing raised me to inquire because I'm open to
see, if I do this, right?
Yes.
If I move my finger, and if I, at that moment, I believe I'm not moving. And if all of a sudden when I do this, I believe I am moving.
Yes.
It's very easy for me to ask myself the question, why is that so? So what say you? Why is it that in one case the belief is I'm not moving, in the other case the belief is I am moving?
There is something in the attachment activated when I move that with the separate self. But with this, not attachment.
Right. In other words,
it's something in the level of the feeling and the bodily sensation.
There are only bodily sensations here, right? There are only bodily sensations.
Yes.
There are two.
But one with the attachment and one without the attachment.
There are two sets of bodily sensations. There is this set.
Yes.
That you decide that's not me.
Yes.
That's not me yet. Now perhaps that's a little more me. And then all of a sudden, oops, now that's me who is moving, right? So what happens is you had one set of bodily sensations here and replaced with a new set of bodily sensations.
Yes.
Right? These bodily sensations are just bodily sensations. They don't come with a label that says that's me, and the other one with a label attached that says that's not me, right? Or a tattoo. So who decides then?
There is no who. The one activate attachment, Francis.
You decide. You decide that's me. In this moment, when you conduct the experiment that I've just suggested.
So how I broke this decision? How I come?
You don't have to break anything. You have to decide, okay, from now on, when I feel that, that's not me. There is no reason for that to be me more than that to be me.
That's the reason we have the yoga exercise. We did it together, Francis, several times, moving the head and feeling not.
Yeah, but you can move the head up until the end of the world. That is not going to achieve it. The point is that you have to see that you have the freedom to treat this sensation as you treat this one, that there is no reason for this sensation to occupy a privileged place. You are the one who assigns the privileged place. That's your decision. Because it's just a sensation. They all appear to you, both of them, this one and these ones, both bodily sensations appear into you. And after the fact, just as after the fact you say, I was the thinker of this thought, or I was the decider of this decision, after the fact you say, this is me, or you think this is me, or that's me here. So if you don't allow this afterthought to come in to say, okay, me. No, it's just a sensation. And then you distance yourself from all bodily sensations. And it's very important. The moment you understand, first, that you are attached to only some specific bodily sensations, mostly here and here. So the moment you understand that, number one, right? And you understand by the same token that there are other bodily sensations, such as this one, you are not attached to. that opens the possibility to detach yourself from this one just as you are detached from this one, you see? It would be different if you were attached to all of them. But if you move, that's me here. But that's not the case, you see? We are very specific.
Very difficult to break this attachment, Francis.
There is nothing to break. It's
so
just,
experiential, I close my eyes, I move myself, I don't see my head moving in me. It's experiential.
It moves in you, yes, just as the finger moves in you. As consciousness, this bodily sensation appears in you. Look.
No, it's not moving in me.
Oh, no, to whom does it appear?
The feeling.
To whom does it appear?
No, this is not a problem. It's okay.
No, it's not okay.
No,
it's not okay.
I understand that.
But answer my question. To whom does it appear?
Consciousness.
Say it to me.
To me, yes.
It appears to me, right? Okay? Okay. It is not you. Do you agree with that?
What not me?
These sensations that appears when you do this, it's not you.
Yes.
Why? Because before it appears, you are still you. You are not waiting for that to appear to be you. You are getting that? Before it appears, you are already yourself.
Yes.
So, which shows that when it appears, it's not you. Because you were already you. The point is, because if we trace back what has happened in our conversation, because we are right there, you know, you have just acknowledged that this sensation that appears is not me. And before you were saying just the opposite. So that's a progress, right?
But this progress needs to change the feeling that is not me.
There is nothing to change, but there is to understand. And then, once we understand this mechanism of identification, which is not a mechanism, which is a kind of a label we attach to a bodily sensation after the bodily sensation.
Oh, identification is not mechanism, it's not program, you said.
It's a choice we make. It's our freedom at that moment. Because before the sensation appears, I am already me. You are already you, right? So the sensation that appears is not you, because you were already yourself, right? And then after the sensation, there is the thought, oh, the sensation was me. It is this mechanism, this automatism, that we break through the understanding. Because you have to understand the goal of this discrimination, of this. It's not about moving the head forever. You see, it's like a meditating. It's not about sitting forever like that. No. In the tradition, they say that one glimpse of the truth is worth lifetimes of tapas, of techniques, meditations, whatever. You know, so it's not about repetition. Doesn't get us anywhere. Quite the opposite. It makes us dull, stupid, etc. No, it is an insight, an understanding, and then once we have it, it comes back to us. It reapplies every time. We say, "Oh, why am I thinking to be separate? Because I believe to have some evidence of such a separation in my experience of the body, and then I go, where am I in the body? Oh, I am here. Because here I am moving, here I am not moving. Is that true? You see? So then we debunk these false pretenses these pretenders that pretend to be me. Once we have done that once, what is important is not to fall into the trap of trying to go after these pretenders. For instance, this one, to try to focus on it, hoping it's going to disappear. If we focus on it hoping it's going to disappear, good luck with that. It's going to intensify. The goal is not to make bodily sensation disappear. The goal is to understand they are not us, which takes place in an instant, and then that's done.
And yoga cannot lead to understanding.
What?
Yoga cannot lead to understanding.
Well, we could talk about yoga. There are two ways to understand yoga. One way is to see it as a very ambitious endeavor, which is to bring about clarity in the total perceptions of our body. Once the body is perfectly transparent, any nook and cranny where some element of identification could have taken refuge has been debunked. So then, in this transparency, ultimately, all identification is become impossible in the body. Same thing, that doesn't take care of the mind aspect of ignorance. Another form of yoga is not as ambitious, more practical, and in a sense more efficient, which is, instead of systematically investigating the body, to narrow down this investigation to the sense of me in the body. In other words, that's the investigation, the Atma Vichara, the investigation of the sense of me. That has to take place both on the level of thoughts, and here in the yoga, in the physical aspect of the yoga, in the bodily sensation. That which we just did. You see? So then it's a more opportunistic, if you will, investigation whenever I feel separate, to think about it. What am I? Where am I? Is that a concept of being a separate entity? Or is that a feeling to be a separate entity here or here? And then once I have debunked it, nothing is left to be done. Okay, I'm back to meditation. Meditation is whatever condition of the mind and of the body prevails when I don't know what I am, either on the conceptual level or on the perceptual level.
What is the condition body when you said is fully transparent? What does it mean when body is ready to be fully transparent?
The goal of certain form of yoga, which is a more a progressive path, is to by a systematic exploration of all parts of the body, using all kinds of exercises, all kind of postures. It's to have a perfect connaissance of the muscles of the body. For instance, there are exercises that are difficult to do in the beginning because the body is unknown to us. People don't know how to, for instance, to move the diaphragm independently from the intercostal muscle. So we have exercises in the traditional yoga, such as Kapalabhati or Uddiyana Bandha, that the goal of which is to separate this movement. And then we have noli, in which we move the abdominal muscle forward independently from other abdominal muscles. This is not necessary, but in this ambitious endeavor to become very, very conscious of all parts of the body, if that is this type of transparency, then there are no nooks and crannies left for the sense of me to take refuge in. You see, for instance, the hand is a part of the body which we are extremely aware of, because we do very minute things with the hand, such as writing, or so we are very, very aware of our hands. That has always been the case. So the hands are a very transparent part of the body. That's why, if you think about it, we don't identify with the hand. And that's one also of the reason why in some traditional healing process the hands play a role, because this transparency of the hand can, through some kind of mimetism, communicates itself. You see. So if all of the body, just as we don't believe I am my hands, if the totality of the body was as transparent as the hands, which is, if you will, the goal, the ambitious goal of the yoga, then there will be no place to identify with in the body. There is in some traditions,
it's very complicated.
Well, and it's a case when we don't find that here, but in the West, when in some traditions there are yogins that had achieved this total transparency of the body, but they are still not liberated, and then they go see their guru, and then instantaneously the guru gives them a glimpse, and as they get this glimpse, they are instantaneously established, because it was the last obstacle, that gets removed. And there was in the story of Atmananda Krishna Menon, when he was a child, there was a yogi who visited their house at the time, and the yogi, he was sick, and his parents were afraid he would die, and this yogin cured him. And many years later, now Atmananda is a guru who teaches, and this yogi still has not fully realized. And he comes to see Atmananda, and then he gets a glimpse, and instantaneously is realized. There is a scripture in the Indian tradition, don't remember the name, in which there is a chapter in which they describe the various types of sages and of jivan muktas. And one sage is a case when they are so transparent, and when they get the glimpse, they are established right away.
You done that? This yoga kind of yoga, Francis, by yourself?
What?
You done this kind of yoga, transparency for part of the body?
Well, when you do Hatha yoga, it's a little bit of a mix of both. What is it? What it is called? Anyways, but in many cases, and on the direct path, the opposite happens. You get the glimpse first, and the glimpse then cleans up the rest, at least to the extent that it is necessary. And in other words, there is still a sadhana after a path after the initial glimpse, but it's a different process. Then you don't need to be that exhaustive, because you can have the more specific, more surgical approach. I'm sorry, I'm very technical here.
But now I'm confused. Now my path every day I do meditation and I do yoga. Now you say maybe it's useless. All the exercise I do every day. So I don't know what to do tomorrow.
I think what is important is to know why we are doing something and what's the goal. What is it that we are trying to achieve? Mere repetition is not going to... the moment we see that we should have always an investigative spirit in our sadhana, in whatever we are doing. And we shouldn't be... as soon as it gets repetitive, as soon as it gets boring, we have to move on and live our life, do something. We have to follow our enthusiasm, wherever our enthusiasm takes us. You know, that's the most precious.
This question investigation, because my feeling is I am open to the possibility of universal and I need to implement that. I don't have any question on this area to inquire.
You don't need to sit, then you don't need to meditate. Life is your meditation. But if you meditate because you feel a sense of lack, investigate the sense of lack. That's a different story.
I was thinking it can help to implement the universality of what we learn in the end.
It may.
Like when we come in here.
It may. For instance, today you understood something about this and this, right? That's important. It's important because to understand how we fall back into ignorance, you know, how